What's up everybody and welcome back to another DotaCast. This is the Raidcall EMS 1 LAN tournament group stage, or sorry, first round of the brackets. Group stages are already finished, and yes, this is one of the first major LAN tournaments in Europe of the year. Keep in mind there's 4 of these LAN tournaments in this year, all presented by Raidcall. Shouts to them for putting on this tournament. Everybody who attends gets a guaranteed prize, but you do have to qualify. But this is game 3 between Alliance and Mouz. Mouz coming up strong in game number 1, carried by Black's Alchemist. Game 2, Alliance struck back, helped out by Aki's Ogre Magi quite a bit. And, of course, whenever you give Admiral Bulldog free farm on the Lone Druid, you are going to get punished for it, as Mouz found out to their chagrin. But yeah, personally, I'm really excited to see more LAN tournaments in the Western European scene. That's been one of the major weaknesses of the West. It's all online tournaments, and it's all well and good, but you can't really play the same. It's a totally different environment, playing with the crowd, playing under constant, well, I guess, playing with equal servers, so you can truly see who the best teams are, playing with your whole team there at your back, the crowd roaring in your ears. The caster is going crazy, and you know what Biggie Smalls said? More lands, less problems. Might be paraphrasing just a bit right there, but the point remains. But Mouz bang out the Lone Druid. They gave Admiral Bulldog complete and utter free farm in the last game, and they got destroyed by it. And they're banging out the Wisp as well, even though they have the first pick. So they are perhaps thinking, alright, we don't want to use the Wisp, but we can get something like an NA or a Barrett right here because Alliance did first ban out the PL. And because PL is first banned, that means Alliance does have the potential to get some strong heroes left on their side of the field, whether it be Keeper of the Light, Magnus, who has been ridiculously successful as of late. I mean, he has just been winning every single game that he's participated in the DreamHack Invitational Finals. Magnus was the winner of every single match, and Mouz, we'll see if the trend continues. I think he's lost a couple games in this turn, but now remains to be seen if Mouz will have the same success. And I know Pos Mag is really impressive, but Pos usually plays offlane, and Magnus these days, more often than not, does head towards mid lane, as Alliance going to pick up the next as well as Coddle, as Coddle's faded out just a little bit in the Western European scene, which I'm very glad because I despise this hero. But they're going to get Nyx as well, so they have already their 2 supports, unless they go for S4 Nyx mid. And Mag does beat Nyx mid because he has spammable Shockwave, and Nyx mana burn costs more than the intelligence that the Nyx assassin actually burns for the Magnus. So Alliance most likely will probably be running this as support Nyx. But Nyx paired with Keeper, it's not really a roaming tri-lane setup, and Nyx does want levels. So Alliance tri-lane will be very defensive, as Mouz is going to pick up the Lifestar, perhaps anticipating Alliance defensive, but again, running an aggressive tri-lane into the gaping maws of Keeper of the Light is very... It's not a good idea, to say the least. And Mouz is going to pick up the Rubik as well to pair with the Lifesteal, so they have a lot of lockdown, and if they can steal something like a Mana Burn or an Impale with that Rubik to combine with the Magnus, they have a lot of ability to lock people in place, which is, of course, the main problem with Lifestealer. And Lifestealer is just such a good hero against Keeper of the Light, and next you can dodge the Illuminate, you can sort of run out the Mana Leak, you can attack free without worrying about the Carapace whatsoever, but Alliance are playing very strongly, picking up the Clockwork. And Clockwork's such a good opening here, or such a good counter pick here, because Cogs burn through mana, even during Rage, and that mana burn is very intense. Of course, Magnus could be potentially disrupted if he skewers in the early game. Until he gets a dagger online, Clockwork Cogs could prove to be quite a hindrance, and Battery Assault, of course, will be very annoying. So right now, both teams opening up rather, standardly. I think Black Lifesteal percentage win rate used to be very strong. It might have faded out recently because they've been experimenting with other heroes, whether it be Alchemist or Phantom Lancer, but still, Black's Lifesteal is definitely nothing to underestimate. And yeah, just to talk a little bit more about this series, it's 1-1, Mouz won game 1, Alliance won game 2, but many people expected that this would probably be the most sort of, how do I say this? The most expected result for Alliance, I guess. Man, that was like luminous level English. But this was supposed to be such an easy win for Alliance. I mean, Mouz is always a good team, but Alliance have just been performing on another level. They won Starlighter LAN tournament, they won the DreamHack Invitational, they've been looking so strong, but Mouz showing that they have some tricks up their sleeve, and Alliance may have underestimated them, as Alliance bang out the Anti-Mage, knowing it is one of Black's favorite heroes. And I don't think Mouz would have picked up Anti-Mage, but again, Anti-Mage with the Empower buff on him is quite scary, and if Black did get his hands on it, backed up by a defensive Trillion with the Alliance, probably not running an aggressive Trillion with the Nyx Keeper Light setup, I guess you don't really want to give Black any chance of getting the Anti-Mage rolling. But it's a bit surprising because the Alliance could have possibly gone for the Anti-Mage themselves. Mouz is going to ban out the Templar Assassin, saying we want to protect the mag as much as possible, banning out the Puck as well. Wouldn't be too surprised to see if Quap was also banned, but Quap, not really the best hero to choose up against Lifestealer. So, yeah, and S4's Quap, I have actually not seen in action. I'm sure it's fantastic because all of S4's heroes mid are just on another level compared to most of the European scene. But still, S4, I don't know if he likes Quap too much, and again, it's not that strong against Lifestealer. And when it comes out to the late game, Mags is are more than willing to blow solo RP on Quap, just because at that point in the game, Quap is high-low from being mid, and if you blow the RP, then you can eliminate Quap from the battle for such a long duration of the time. As Alliance is going to bat the Alchemist, I think this will be a Black Lifestealer, so I'm not too sure why Alliance are going so heavy duty with these carry bans. But yeah, it could remain to be seen as... Well, Mouz at the moment, they have their safe lane farm most likely, unless they want to go aggressive, but again, challenging a Keeper of the Light and a Nyx tri-lane, which is so defensive, the AoE stun from Nyx and the Illuminate Blast is just such a nuisance to go up against. I think this Lifestealer will be safe lane farming with the Rubik backing him up. Magnus will be mid, so Mouz probably need one more support and an off-lane hero, and Darkseer is still left in the pool, and when it's not Dignitas, Darkseer always manages to make his way to the sort of second phase of the ban list. Meanwhile, Alliance, they have their off-lane hero, they have their dual supports. Again, S4 could potentially put the Nyx mid if he had to, but Magnus does beat Nyx mid, and I mean, S4, he has a strong Nyx, but still, it might be different on a LAN environment. Maybe they want to have a hero that has a higher impact earlier and later on. Nyx is, of course, a very impactful hero, but again, not really that good against Lifestealer, so if you level the Nyx too much and you get him a lot of items, if Lifestealer just turns on Rage, what can Nyx do? Alliance banning out the Gyrocopter as well. Smart ban right here by Alliance. I guess if they say, alright, we're banning out carries, might as well get all of the carries that Mouz are most comfortable with. Banning out 4 carries, respecting Black's potential farming ability. And perhaps limiting him to the Lifestealer, so maybe that's what Alliance is saying. Okay, Black, you can take the Lifestealer, but we'll pick up a carry perhaps stronger than that, or who can perhaps take the game later, or who can perhaps farm faster. So that might be the logic behind Alliance's bans at the moment. Meanwhile, Mouz, again, banning out the mid-solo heroes, and S4 might have to go with the Nyx, unless you get something like a Brewmaster, Night Stalker, something like that. But I do think this will be a support Nyx. One thing that is going to be annoying for Mouz is how can they break the base. There is still a Juggernaut in the pool, but I've never seen Mouz actually run their Juggernaut, and where would he go? He would be, I guess, off lane if you put Lifestealer safe lane, may do aggressive challenge Juggernaut. Mouz is going to pick up the Nature's Prophet, so they have a jungle hero. Actually, he'll probably go in the off lane, he'll probably be Pos running it. I've never seen Mouz run a safe lane Nature's Prophet, or a Nature's Prophet in the sort of support capacity like Dignitas do. It's way too sexy. But Nature's Prophet definitely goes with the split push power and can really help push out the lanes, and we'll make it a bit more annoying for Keeper Light because Keeper Light wants to stand in one place to blast down creep waves, and while you're doing that, Nature's Prophet can just go to a different lane. But Alliance is going to pick up the Night Stalker. That's a pretty smart pick right here because if you can silence Lifestealer before he pops on the Rage, you can just go to work on him. Silence the Magnus until he gets to that BKB. You can sort of go to work on him. Nature's Prophet will always have to be careful. Rubik, always in danger of being silenced, and S4 is a phenomenal Night Stalker player. But Magnus should have the slight edge, even though Night Stalker has a bit higher base damage and better armor. So it might be a wash in the mid lane. Night Stalker won't really get rune control against Magnus, but can probably hold his own for the most part. And Alliance right now, all they need is a carry, and they don't have anything like a Chen, so they aren't going to go for their sort of heavy push strat with the DK or Doom. So I think this might be a Spectre, because Alliance have been running the Spectre quite heavily recently. So I think that's what Alliance is thinking right now. They banned out 4 of the heroes. Meanwhile, Mouz is going to pick up the Jakiro. I like the support choice a lot. Gives them a lot more range. And against Cuddle, you do want to have some sort of range. Gives you range to sort of lock down the clockwork as well. Nyx could be in a bit of trouble, and Alliance at the moment do have 3 melee heroes, so Jakiro, very strong range hero when there are 3 melees against him, because you do have Dual Breath, as well as Ice Path, which can make melee heroes' lives a lot more difficult. But Alliance, I guess their draft succeeded because they are going to force Black onto that Lifestealer, so that's what they had in mind, and Alliance had to pick up the carry. I'm fully expecting a Spectre right here. That is what Loda does like to run when there's no other carry options left in the pool, or when they feel like they have a strong Spectre lineup, and they do have some global presence in the Clockwork, but I don't know if this is his best Spectre lineup. I mean, they do have some strong gankers. Actually, this is a pretty solid Spectre lineup because they have some solid initiating gankers in the form of Night Stalker, Clockwork, and Nyx. And Loda, if he teleports in, keep in mind, if you've ever watched Loda play Spectre recently, he does like to max Desolate by level 7. And the trick is now for Mouz, do they want an aggressive tri-lane? They have Lifesteal, Rubik, and Jakiro, but again, it's so difficult challenging the Keeper of the Light tri-lane just because the Illuminate does so much damage. I think Mouz will probably play this a bit more defensively, but if you do that, you will give Loda free farm, and Loda with free farm on Spectre, he'll probably get a fast drums and go into the Radiance build, which I think Radiance on Spectre is still the best way to go, rather than a fast diffusal. You want to cancel a dagger up on Magnus as long as possible. The Radiance just does so much damage to the supports, and Rubik, Nature's Prophet, Jakiro are pretty squishy. Even Mag is relatively squishy until he gets that BKB, and when I say squishy, I mean, you know, he seems to die a lot faster than he survives for some odd reason, despite him being a strength melee hero.
Prepare for battle.
But good luck, have fun is the call. Theta playing with a broken wrist, but still try and think through the noise and the pain to fight through one of the new Mouse's first LAN tournament. So shouts to Theta playing with a broken wrist, but we'll go over the teams and players right about now. Black is going to be handling that Lifestealer. Quickwa is going to be playing the Nature's Prophet. Theta is playing the Magnus. Alex is playing the Jakiro. Paz is playing the Rubik. Meanwhile, on the side of Alliance, we're going to have S4 playing the Night Stalker, Aki is playing the Keeper Light, Loda is going to be playing the Spectre, EGM is playing the Nyx, and Admiral Bulldog is going to be handling that Clockwork. As, ooh, they might get the first creep kill of the game. Are they going to try to feed to Loda? Oh, Loda, run. The Treant scurrying away. Theta. Oh, Aki got the manage to get the last hit. That is going to fuel his flying courier so quickly. Well, just a little bit quickly, as Loda... disappointed. He wanted the 14 gold, as both teams having a little bit of fun. They know that this is single elimination, which is a little bit of a criticism for the EMS, as one side of the bracket was relatively unstacked, and this side of the bracket has Alliance, Mouse, and the other matchup is Fnatic versus Navi. But still, that's how the groups were set up. If they want to have different setups, then they could have just done better the group stages, as Loda's going to get hurt down quite a bit. Still has that Spectral Dagger to get out of there, but Loda might be in a bit of trouble. No, still will be able to escape. Manage to get the poor man's shield, reducing his damage. And Mouse actually going to go aggressive against Keeper Tri-Lane, and I think in the end this is probably the right call, because you can't give Loda Spectre free farm. But they are going to have to be careful of the Keeper of the Light. They're going to probably play some wards just to make sure they can always spot the Keeper of the Light. As are they going to block the pull spot with the ward? They are indeed. And the problem with Rubik Jakiro is that they have such a long range of initiation that it is going to be quite difficult de-warding that ward, as Aki just going to spam the blast. But again, Keeper of the Light with that mana cost nerf, gonna only have enough mana for one more blast in the near future, as Black with the double Dantrine gonna go work on the creeps, and Loda is SOL in this lane. But that is going to give enough time for the Alliance squad to D-ward, get the pull going for the 1 minute mark, as long as these guys don't block it. Excuse me, just a small hiccup right there. Literally a hiccup, not a technical hiccup, but the supports are going to get pull. It is an alpha creep camp, so that is going to deny a lot of creeps, as Black will get blasted, and once again, Keep It Light Illuminate, so annoying, 200 damage, definitely cannot be underestimated at all. He didn't charge it for the full duration. Or maybe it did, because Rubik did take quite a bit of damage. Meanwhile, the mid lane, you know what they say, even in disadvantageous matchups, S4 always finds a way, as he is 5-0, but is harassing Magnus quite admirably. But still, I mean, Magnus should have the advantage once he gets a couple more levels into that shockwave. Meanwhile, lag is the call. Koiko versus Admiral Bulldog. This will be quite good for Bulldog, because usually when Clockwork is in the offlane, he is thrown to the wolves. But Clockwork, fearing some sort of rotation, is only level 1 despite Koiko being level 3? How did that happen, Bulldog? I guess he played really defensively. Did the supports on Mouse not reveal themselves? Maybe they thought they were going to sack Black to the wolves, but still, I'm not too sure how this Clockwork is only level 1. Maybe Koiko is just doing a remarkable job denying, as he only has one deny. Clockwork has just not been experienced range, but the creep wave is pushing in, as they do have 2 range creeps, so Bulldog will be able to hit level 3 relatively soon under his tower with the push coming in. But yeah, Clockwork will be able to get those fastest levels than usual, and Koiko with the Treant Harass is just going to push him away. And here's the Master Creep Wave, so Bulldog will be able to hit level 3 relatively soon. Has already hit level 2, will hit level 3 after this giant Creep Wave. But still, an overall impact, gotta favor Koiko, because Nature's Prophet doesn't usually enjoy a safe lane farm these days. He goes into the jungle, goes into the off lane, really gets us a delayed minus, but in this lane, Koiko already has boost speed, will probably go back into minus to help fuel his experience growth. And really farm Nature's Prophet is something to be feared, because Spectre, ridiculously powerful late game, but Leicester does decently against Spectre, because Spectre is such a tank hero. Leicester doesn't care. He has Feast to eat through the tank, and Spectre doesn't usually build into high armor increasing items, and keep in mind Spectre doesn't have the best agility growth, so it doesn't gain too much natural armor either. But still, when it goes down to the late game, you always gotta sort of favor, well, I always say favor the team with the Magnus. So I favor Mouz in the late game just because they do have that Magnus, but still, Spectre is probably one of the best late game carries in the game, and it's been a while since I've seen Loda Spectre lose. But meanwhile, this Trial versus Trial scenario is sort of going as expected. Loda has been able to pick up 7 CS, Leicester 11 CS, and so far this is going pretty well for Alliance. Keep in mind they just want to sort of stick around, get Loda some experience in farm, make sure he doesn't die, which is always a fear in an aggressive Trial scenario. But they aren't going to be able to stop Black in terms of CSing, but I think as long as they get that first night without too much of trouble, Night Stalker can roam in, because these heroes will be so low leveled, and that could be a huge problem. But if Fada plays this lane knight, he'll always push the wave to the tower, so Night Stalker can't really gank without missing a lot of experience, or perhaps even losing a tower. But so far, Bulldog level 4, Koiko just managed to hit level 5, 800 gold in the bank, and he is pretty much blasting everything, 20 CS. Clockwork really can't contest him because Clockwork doesn't really have the best armor, 2 armor compared to the Nature's Prophet 66 damage, so that is quite a bit of harassment he's taking. And the Treants, he's able to summon 3 at a time, and Clockwork really can't kill them because Clockwork's attack speed is abysmally slow. And he did go for 2 points in Battery Assault, I guess to help chase down Koiko if he manages to find the opportunity. Battery Assault does do a lot of damage, but I think in this scenario, you'd want to max the Rocket Flare because Haunt in the late game with the Night Stalker ganking around will be able to do a bit more damage. But Admiral Bulldog is a vastly better player than I am, and I guess it does sort of make sense. Battery Assault does do a lot of damage, and if they hook in, the Battery Assault will be the primary source of Clockwork's DPS, so that could be the logic behind it as well. And maybe that is also a response to, no, Loda is going to get that Desolate. He's probably going to get level 5 Desolate and keep 2 points of Dagger. Dagger's damage is just not that good, and its mana cost is really too high that Loda can't spam it. But overall, the pace of the game, I think it's favoring Mouz just a bit. Loda has been able to CS, but Black and the Nature's Prophet already been able to out-farm them so far, and a farm Nature's Prophet is definitely something you don't want to have happen, as Bulldog gonna get picked off. We're gonna see how that happen due to the magic of instant replay. Oh, Don't Edge Koiko just walks up to Bulldog, says, "I got boots, Bulldog, you have bottle. What are you doing, my friend?" The Sprout gonna be used to give him vision, as Bulldog could not escape. And that is going to be huge for Koiko. He's going to get such a fast minus. Actually went for phase boots. Wow, what an interesting build. So he's not going to go minus whatsoever, because otherwise he would have picked it up much sooner. I thought you would have gotten the boots into minus, but I guess the phase boots really helped to sort of help him chase. So maybe this speaks to Koiko going to be playing a very aggressive Nature's Prophet. Maybe he also wants to escape from when the Spectre and the Night Stalker ganks do come in with those phase boots. Phase boots is a strong item, but usually Nature's Prophet do like to get treads. But I guess this indicates that he's not going to go for an ultra late game build, because treads is better in terms of attack speed for the late game. As meanwhile, Night Stalker trying to look for an opening, just continue to use that void for the CS. Here comes the teleport, and Wrath of Nature is going to be used. Koiko just going to cancel the teleport, as this 4 going to take a lot of damage. It's almost about to be first night. Night Stalker level 6 has been saving his other skill points, deciding whether or not he needs to get a point to darkness. Going to put all the rest of his points right about now, and that's a smart build by Night Stalker, because the mana cost of Void does increase as you level it up, and Night Stalker is a pretty mana dependent hero. And keep in mind, it's not an AoE nuke, it's a single target nuke. So the lower level your Void is, the more you can spam it, and as long as you're going for last hits, you should have no trouble using that Void to get last hit. So every bit of mana does count for a Night Stalker. So smart play by S4 saving those mana points, but now, since it is the first night, he's going to level it up. And suddenly, the Radiant Wards, there are none. So if S4 is ever out of the lane, It's going to be difficult, and I don't imagine Pos or Jakiro going to roam by themselves to get the wards up, so it's going to be up to Feda to push the wave constantly, provide a lot of pressure to the middle tower, and the middle tower is still at full HP, so Magnus can't really push it down by himself. But still, Pos or Fada just going to have to always push that lane, provide the pressure to the tower, make sure that S4 never leaves the lane to go gank, because anytime a Night Stalker is off the map, it's going to be a bad situation for your tri lane. Meanwhile, Loda, 21 CS, more importantly, has not died, has been getting experience, and this is all you can ask for a Spectre. Spectre is such a weak laning hero that she really can't do anything in the sort of defensive or aggressive tri-lane scenario. Even if she maxed Dispersion, which would give her a bit more survivability, honestly, what did that accomplish? That is, there's going to be a tower attempt. S4 will be able to go in, finish off Fada, or god, Koikwa, and still, Koika got what he accomplished, managed to get that tower. Loda going to take a lot of damage as suddenly the engagement switches around. Pos with the telekinesis will be able to pick up the kill with the help of Black, sealing that gold as well. Jakiro is going to die in exchange, picked off by the Nyx, but really good engagement from Mouz. Well, they got a tower and they killed Spectre. That definitely favored Mouz quite a bit. Meanwhile, Arcane Boots is finished up on Fada as Blast is going to be challenged with Chain nicely with the Illuminate, or with the Impale, as Loda trying to go in, trying to finish off Pos. Meanwhile, Black does kill off NA. Here comes the Magnus. Magnus does kill off S4. How did that happen? I guess RP and S4 went back to lane at low HP. Just a lot of crazy events. I'm going to just backtrack because I really want to see how all this happened. Illuminate changed with Impale. Meanwhile, S4, oh, S4 is sticking around, not going to pop the invisibility rune. Here comes the Skewer into the RP. Oh, wow. S4, cocky Dota. And S4 usually always good enough to get away with it. But Mouz is definitely coming out ahead in these early game engagements. This is going to give Magnus such a fast dagger, and the fact that Black's not dying, even though Loda picked up a kill helping secure his farm, it's not going to be that good of news, because again, when it comes down to farming, the fact that Black is able to get these last hits is going to speak tremendously, as he went for phase boots as well, just to help him chase.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Magnus picks up a haste turn. Bulldog going in for a world of hurt. Keep in mind, since the Trial is on the other side of the map, there have been no wards placed by Alliance on their bottom lane, as Bulldog just trying to delay the inevitable, get the cogs going, trying to drain as much mana as possible, succeeds in trapping Fada with him as Loda gonna haunt in. I don't think he had enough mana. He had no mana for Dagger because Spectre's mana costs are just balls in the early game, as S4 gonna dive in, but Fada has that haste rune. Can S4 actually escape? Here comes the Treants being summoned. Koikwa gonna get voided as S4 realizing yes, get the heck out of there. Could have been in a lot of trouble, and this is going to be very bad news for S4. Going to have to go all the way back to base most likely, or use the rest of his bottle charges, and there has been no rune respawning, so this is going to delay his ganks. And Night Stalker, it's all about those first few nights, because he falls off very, very quickly in the late stages of the game. S4 trying to look for perhaps a courier or for retreating, but Mouz smartly just going to teleport out of there. Really, really smart thinking by Mouz at this point in the game.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Meanwhile, the Miller Tower getting a bit pressured. I love what Mouz is doing right now. They're just going to farm up the supports, try to get a big experience, because they know if Night Stalker does come in, it could be bad news. But good reaction by Alliance, placing these Observer wards, trying to spot the movement, and that is going to... Ooh, man, look at Fada. He's already level 10 on the Magnus because of that kill, and because of the 2 kills. He's 300 gold away from the dagger. This is going to be tremendously early, and once he gets that, Spectre will really be in so much danger. So right now, Mouz seems to have all the cards on the table. And they can fight with Spectre late game, but still, late game Spectre is definitely not something you want to really go up against. Loda, 900 gold in the meg, will probably go for the drums like he has been doing on Spectre, as S4 has just been roaming around. Really can't find an opening to really go to town on everybody else. He knows he pops the Void on Koika. Koika can just teleport out of there, as Black going to take Illuminate right to the chin. And Black, or Koika, just going to be harassed, but Koika not even worried. He's saying, come at me, bro. And the phase boots would have just helped him escape a lot more quickly. He actually went back into the Midas after the phase boots. Interesting build. And still, it's going to feel his experience, and this is pretty much the timing that Nature's Swap would get it at the jungle anyway, at around 9 to 10 minutes. So I'm honestly not too sure what Alliance can do to get themselves back in the mid-game since first night is ending. I think it'll have to be up to Bulldog to sort of teleport around, try to make stuff happen with the hook, as EGM gonna come in, gonna pop the Vendetta, but Mouz with a well-timed Sentry Ward. What a timing on the Sentry Ward. Black was able to react to the Vendetta hit. I don't think Black would have been able to react to that if the Sentry Ward is not in place, but as it was, beautiful placement of the Sentry Ward by the Mouse supports, and oh man, EGM never stood a chance. Meanwhile, Koikwa or Feda just gonna go to work on this middle tower with the Illusion Rune. The Dire don't have Glyph online, as Feda trying to get greedy. Here comes the Death or the Haunt in, trying to draw back the time. All the while, Nature's Prophet will help pick up a kill on the Spectre. S4 going to be driven back away. Infested just barely whiffs as Black won't be able to pick off S4. Meanwhile, Bulldog teleports in, but he's in for a world of hurt. Will get killed off by the Nature's Prophet, and Alliance being taken apart by Mouse in this early game when they have a Night Stalker as well as a Keeper of the Light. To be fair, they have a Spectre, which is not really the best early game hero by any means. But still, really nicely done by Mouse. The unfortunate thing is that the tower was denied by Aki as, oh man, one last hit will pick off the Keeper Light, but that is going to cost Fade his life. At the very least, he did pick up his dagger, so didn't lose too much gold in that exchange. And the fact that Nature's Prophet did get a kill means all is not lost, and more importantly, it's the end of the first night. So Mouse looking in complete control. They still have the RP online. How are Alliance going to get themselves back in the game? Spectre, no room to farm up whatsoever. We'll be able to farm up a bit more room because of the tower being pushed down, but still, Mouse have just so much more map control on their side. Checking out the levels. Despite that, Nyx Assassin's level 8, so the experience advantage, well, it's still hugely in favor of the Mouse squad because their two highest levels are level 11, and S4 on the middle lane was unable to get any kills in the first night, so he's only level 8. And keep in mind, Night Stalker doesn't farm up. He wants to get his kills on the back of ganks and kills, or wants to get his farm on the back of ganks and kills, and really unable to make too much happen. But the supports are a bit high level. That means they can perhaps survive a couple more engagements than they otherwise would have, but what will that matter when there's not enough damage backing them up? And that's the question. Mouse, sensing that they had the advantage, are trying to roll with it. They're going to try to pressure this top tier 1 tower, and Alliance really can't contest this whatsoever. Nice job by Black. Picks up an Orb Venom just to help chase, and that seems to be the theme for Mouse. They picked up 2 phase leads as well as an Orb Venom. They just want to chase in and end the game ASAP. They don't want to go late against Spectre. You can definitely respect that. But the question is, when Keeper of the Light is in place, how are you going to initiate on him? Because there's nothing like a Clockwork or Batrider in place. You're going to have to use the Magnus Blink RP. But Blink RP for a call, usually not worth it, as they are going to find hooking onto Koikwa. Koikwa will get bursted down. Nicely done by the Alliance squad with that ward in place and the Sentry Ward. Going to spot out Koikwa. So Koikwa, even though he had the Shadow Blade, was SOL. So will get picked off, but now he knows there's a Sentry Ward, and still Koikwa 14-minute Shadow Blade, as well as that minus remarkable farm on this hero already. 75 CS, and he's going to get stronger and stronger as this game goes on because of the power of Teleport. But still, it's the worst feeling in the world to have to be dead and your Midas off of cooldown. It's literally the worst thing in the world. People sometimes even buy back just so they can get that experience and the gold flowing because that Midas is on cooldown. So I'm sure Koiko was saying, oh man guys, this is like the worst moment of my life. Teleport up top, gonna spy out Aki. One shot by Koiko, and the Shadow Blade easily snipes out Aki. 11-5 in favor of Mouse. Mouse looking so dominant, and really S4 unable to make too much space for his team for Spectre to farm up because it is still daytime. Level 9, trying to get those levels. He recognizes the fact that, okay, we can't really do too much because, I mean, where are we going to initiate? Onto Black? Onto a Blinking Magnus? We just need levels so we can make the second night so much more impactful than the first night. You know, Alex is going to work no points to Liquid Fire because he was on Tron vs. Tron scenario and want to get those nukes as well as the stun off to their highest potential. But still, the tower is attacking. The push will be defended, but at the very least, Mouse did force out a glyph. But all 5 Mouse heroes are here. They want to force a fight, and they do have a Smoke of Deceit Magnus in position. The smoke finally does expire, as he does have another smoke in his back pocket. If Rhino Mantars did have back pockets, that's where the smoke would be located. Hook in by Bulldog, gonna initiate onto Black as here comes the Haunt. Ice Path gonna be thrown down as well. Blink RP Skewer gonna catch off EGM. Here comes the nighttime. It's gonna be popping. Theta is going to be the first one to die in this engagement. Nyx will get a kill as well. S4 going to get picked off by the Nature's Prophet. Black is going to be on the pursuit. EGM will die to the Nature's Prophet as well. Koikwa just performing tremendously. Black going to get initiated on by Loda, but look at the Spectre versus the Lifestealer. Really can't compete. Lifestealer just steals so much life, and Loda will eventually die. Black gonna survive. I think he dodged the Illuminate on the back of his Infest. Really smart play by Mouz, as the Illuminate just barely lifts on Koikwa, and that was very strong by Mouz. The blink in RP by Fada, or Fada, god. I think Fada is probably the more appropriate pronunciation, because that just sounds a bit more fancy, and everything's fancier in Europe. But they managed to get 3 kills for the price of 2. They managed to kill the Spectre, keeping her farm down by a lot. And Alliance, the second night, they're going to turn everything around, and I'm not sure where they're going to find the opening, because how are they going to initiate? Bulldog at the very least is level 10, so they have a high level clockwork for the most part. The problem is this Nature's Prophet level 13 already has an ultimate orb up. Gonna go for that fast Hex. And once the Hex is online, nobody's even close. Nobody's even considering a BKB on the side of the line. So this Hex will be so powerful for such a long time. And that is gonna give Mouz another way to lock down, as Mouz continue to push in against Akado without an RP. I don't know if this is the best idea. I think it would be smart just to split push, but Mouz, sensing weakness, perhaps just want to roll with it, perhaps thinking that, okay, by the time we do push in, RP will be back online, and that might be the thought process, as S4 going to farm the bottom lane, Loda going to farm the top lane. Ultimately, this is going to cost Mouz a little bit in terms of farm, but Keeper of the Light will be pushed back, as the Illuminate going to be challenged, going to clear out the Siege Wagon as well as a lot of the creeps, but the Nature's Prophet Tree is going to go to work. Black going to go to Siege the middle tower, as the Smoke I think was spotted out by the tower. Smoke has such a weird animation. Nyx gets denied, second tower deny of the game by Alliance. That is very significant, because that is going to deny a lot of gold to the Mouz squad. And considering Fade has just been popping smokes all over the place, I'm sure he would have liked that. As Loda going to get initiated on Koikwa, the Infest Bomb. Loda trying to teleport out of there. Smart recognition by Loda, just barely manages to escape. Good reactions, as still, mission in the end was accomplished. They disrupted Spectre's farm. And the question is for how long, because where will Loda farm? Only mid is really a possible location for him to farm, because his TP's on cooldown. It would take him quite a while just to walk to this bottom lane. Mouz gonna pressure the top tower, Keeper of the Light not in position to start swinging those Illuminates. There is still Rocket Flare, but once it comes down to the base situation, again, the question remains, how will Mouz break the base? As there's gonna be a teleport, Mouz gonna get the tier 2, they want to defend their tier 1 on the bottom well as well. They're gonna get the RP off onto S4. S4 is nighttime, gonna just teleport out of there, gonna cancel as well, seeing the Jakiro come in, gonna try to run out of there quick, but does pick up the last hit, and the bottom tower will remain defended. Mouz just looking, again, so sharp in their movements. And Alliance, Spectre, she can't do anything against a aggressive tri-lane. She's not a strong early game. She's probably like the worst early game carry in terms of lane presence, in my opinion. But still, the second night is going to mean everything. And the fact of the matter is that S4 is dead for the first opening moments of that second night. That is very dangerous. As we'll take a look at the gold graph, it's approaching 10k advantage for Mouz, almost 3k experience advantage for Mouz as well. Checking out the last hits, 110 for the Nature's Prophet. The top 3 farmers are all on the side of Mouz, and Loda does like to go for the raids on Spectre, as he picked up the Band of Elven skin. Gonna go for the Yash instead, realizing that, okay, we need as much damage as possible. The only way Alliance can get back into this game is on the back of ganks. And if Mouz just stay together, they should be okay. It's going to be up to Bulldog, because in a team fight, what does Alliance honestly have? They have Illuminate, and they have Clock. And Clock is really the only reliable place, because Keeper of the Light probably won't channel that full Illuminate unless it's a Roshan engagement. So it's going to be up to Bulldog. All the pressure is on him. He's going to have to hook in and try to split people up. And if they manage to get the split off with Blinding Light and the Cogs, keep in mind Desolate does an immense amount of damage when everybody's split up, does 65 pure damage, which can just eat through those supports in such a timely fashion in the early stages of the game. So it's going to be up to Bulldog and the Keeper, Aki, to sort of spread out the opposing players, and then EGM and S4 can go in, and then Loda can hunt and do a lot of damage. But still, this is one of the lineups that Mouz can group up against. I mean, they don't want to honestly group up against a Keeper or a Nyx or even a Clock, but still, You don't want to spread apart for a Spectre, and that's always the tricky thing about fighting against Spectre, because the natural inclination is to never clump in a Dota game. But against a Spectre, you sort of do have to clump. But still, the fact of the matter is that Alliance are in a heavy, heavy deficit. And as Spore on the Night Stalker, honestly, not been able to accomplish too much that bottom lane. This Nature's Prophet being played by Quakewa has just been remarkably efficient. 10, 2, and 3. My god, Quakewa just on another level this game, apparently. He just handled Bulldog, teleporting all over the map, making so many engagements happen out of thin air that Alliance really don't have any way to respond to it at this point. Maybe it would have been smart for Alliance to dodge the aggressive tri-lane, but then Bulldog would most certainly have died multiple times against a Rubik as well as a Kiro. But still, I mean, Alliance, they need to think of something. It's no use dwelling in the past like I'm doing. I had 20/20 hindsight. I'm a caster. I can see everything. But that doesn't mean I catch everything. Black has the armlet as well as the drum, so he has pretty much all the tank ability. Rubik just continuing to get wards, has the Urn of Shadows, going to give him a bit more HP. Jakiro trying to build towards the mech. Fada has died a couple of times, and has slowed down his farm significantly, but still, Blank Arcanes might go into the BKB next. It will be quite useful against S4 for the silence. Nature's Prophet gonna have that Mystic Staff. Will probably save for a buyback because at this point Nature's Prophet does such immense DPS that if he's out of the battle for a bit, then that could perhaps turn the fight around for Alliance. So I think he will probably save up for buyback. May get the Void Stone right now, and it's Midas. Yo, Midas off of cooldown, bro. And again, I already checked out Life Story's farm. Checking out the farm on the side of Alliance. They're gonna smoke up. This reeks of desperation, but they need to make something happen. And this is a good engagement because Mouz do not have any wards. All they see is the Night Stalker. So this could be a trap as the Illuminate is going to be charged to the full duration. Here comes the initiation by Loda. Desolate going to do a lot of chip damage. Here comes Black. He's going to be silenced. He's going to be the first one died. Disengaging. Loda going to teleport into Alex as the Clockwork Cogs going to disrupt Pos. Pos will get picked off. Meanwhile, the Macropar going to clear out all the trees. RP by Fada, but where's the damage going to come from? It's got to come from Koikwa, but I think he was blind light for a lot of the duration. Boa going to go back in. Going to try to go to work on the Magnus. Koikwa going to get stunned in place. Koikwa trying to run the heck out of there. Is this the turnaround fight for Alliance? Alliance, the hook by Bulldog. What a team fight by Alliance, my god. And this is the power of being such an experienced team, as Mouz is still a very young team. But Alliance, all-season veterans. Loda, very experienced LAN veteran. Keep in mind, this team did win Star Ladder, and when the chips are down, they won the crucial team fight. This is going to give Loda so much more time. And the question now for Loda is, now that they got 5 kills from engagement, now that they wiped against an RP lineup, or the RP lineup did get wiped, as S4 just going to teleport out there, not fearing Black whatsoever. The question for Loda is, does he go back into Radiance? He's saving up 2.1k gold. I think he could potentially go back into Radiance if he really wanted to, because Alliance or Mouz is going to be very hesitant. They don't want to take an engagement when the reverse polarity is down. And that is going to give such a huge boost in terms of experience. And now, look at the experience graph. It's actually dipping in favor of Alliance because they got a full team wipe. Everybody on the side of Mouz was very high leveled. And nobody on the side of Alliance died. Meanwhile, the gold graph going to take a significant hit as well. The tower was pushed. But Mouz is going to go ahead. They don't have the RP up. But I think they just want to end the game ASAP before the Spectre truly gets rolling, because now Spectre going to be a very, very scary beast. And this is what we saw in Dota for such a long period of time. Spectre, probably the most dominant carry hero ever in Dota history, was just viable for so many versions, from 6.5 all the way to 6.67, 6.8, 6.9. And then just fell off the face of the earth as Tri-Lanes became more popular. But still, over the duration of Dota, I can't really imagine a more dominant hero in terms of carrying potential than Spectre. And Mouz gonna... Ooh, Fado. Didn't use the skewer, blinked in. As here comes Hookin by Bulldog, gonna get voided. Fada is silenced, he can't do anything. Here comes the Spectre Desolate, just carving chunks of life out of the opposing side. The battery assault interrupts Paz's TP. He's gonna die. Nightstalker picks up the Jakiro. RP buyback by Fada. They want to make something happen. They don't want to lose so much momentum. They are gonna kill off S4. Bulldog gonna get trapped in place as well. Suddenly the fight is turned around as a double kill being picked up by Fada. It is a 3-for-3 trade in the end with a buyback by Mouz. But that is very important for Mouz because Alliance, they can't contest Roshan. S4 does have buyback. Clockwork does not. Nyx does. If Alliance really wanted to fight this, they could potentially buy back and try to fight this. And the damage is going to come in power. Just gives the Alliance or the Mouz squad so much extra damage. Is Spectre going to scout the area with the dagger? I don't know. I think if I were Alliance, I would have tried to buy back and contest this Roshan. But it is scary fighting without a haunt. And they are going to give up the Roshan. Lifesteal does pick it up. That's going to be quite significant as now he can tank a bit more barrage. Even if he gets silenced by S4 before he can pop the rage, he will at least respawn with the Aegis. So overall, the team fight went even for the most part, if not a little bit in favor of Alliance because, I mean, they got the mid hero and Spectre was able to get a lot more farm. But the buybacks and the Roshan being picked up by Mouz definitely overall favored them in the end. Loda is going to save it for the Relic. He's going to pick up the Radiance, and I think this is still the right build on Spectre. I mean, other people might disagree, as here comes the engagement. Oh no, EGM tried to scout out the area. Might just teleport. No, the Hex by Koikwa. That is such a fast Hex. Koikwa is just so ridiculously farmed. Even has a Mithril Hammer. Will he go for BKB? Will he go for Deso? That remains to be seen. In this game, it might be more prudent to go for the BKB. But still, Nature's Prophet is one of those heroes who can sort of get away with the Desolator just because he will always have that buyback, can always get back into the fights, so he doesn't have to worry so much about survivability. Beyond Mouz with the Aegis, trying to end the game ASAP. Again, Spectre with the Radiance is definitely something you don't want to go up against in the late stages of the game. As we're trying to build towards that BKB, Bulldog finished the mechanism. Is the mech finished yet on the side of Mouz? I think they want to get the mech up onto Jakiro because how are they going to push it against Keeper as well as Clockwork without a mech? It honestly is not possible. And every moment is a moment where Loda is farming up. He's going to have that Relic finished. He's going to pick up the Raids relatively soon. Now has that max point dispersion because he has been able to pick up the levels. And the gold graph, even though it's going back in favor of Mouz, and the experience graph is climbing up as well. Still, never count on a Spectre. And there will be a time when Spectre is by far the most powerful hero on the map, no matter how many items Koiko does get, even though he is a couple items ahead of the Spectre at this point. Until the Nature's Prophet and the Lifesteal both get maxed out, Spectre will still be the dominant force. But, again, when it comes down to the late game, my money's always on the team with the RP. Because RP is a fair and balanced spell. Teleporting my Nature's Prophet. They are going to initiate. Loda's going to get hexed up. He is going to be caught. He didn't have that Relic money. Oof, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts right to the soul. But Mouz can't really push it against this because, again, Keeper and Clockwork are going to prevent that. But at the very least, they are dealing Loda's farm. They got him killed once again. And also very important, they're getting Nature's Prophet a bit more farm. Nature's Prophet going to teleport in with the Lifestealer. As the tower will be pressured, they're just waiting for Aki to initiate. As Koikwa summons the Treants. He was waiting for the timing where he thought Aki would come in. That would have been such a sneaky backstab, but Aki, smartly enough, just goes in Spirit Farm so he can still channel the Illuminate, the Rocket as well as the Illuminate. Just gonna tear down those creeps, but this tower will not be defended in the end. They're just gonna eat through this backdoor region. Actually, Koikwa, quite low in terms of HP, just gonna teleport on there, but Black more than happy to finish off that tower. And Alliance, no more outer towers on the map for them. And now, this is the point of the game where Nightstalker starts feeling a little bit uncomfortable. His nukes, which he really relies on for the bulk of his DPS, suddenly doesn't do that much. Heroes are starting to get BKB, so they have to worry about the silence. And when I say heroes start getting BKB, I mean Nature's Prophet and Nyx, and that's it. But Fada is going to go for the BKB, and do you really want to silence the Rubik or the Jakiro? They're good silences, but still, it's not really as important as something like the Magnus or the Lester before he pops the Rage. And the damage, Leicester gonna eat through that Night Stalker's damage so very hard. Clockwork doesn't really scale that well toward the late game either. In fact, the only hero that really scales is Nyx because of the mana burn and Spectre. So a lot of pressures on Loda. He's gonna have to really watch out his positioning. But still, as long as Mouz can't penetrate the base, Alliance are still okay. And I've yet to see a way that Alliance can have their base breached without anything like a pipe. Mechanism has been finished, but even then, Clockwork rockets in conjunction with the Illuminate just going to prolong that by so much. And if this game gets trailed off, Loda picks up something like a heart and a butterfly, and that will be a huge problem. But Spectre's one of those funny heroes because Spectre doesn't like to get the BKB. Spectre wants to take up as much damage as possible so the dispersion can reflect as much damage as possible. But because Spectre is not one of those heroes who gets a BKB, that means Hex will always be an issue. And since Nature's Prophet did get such an early Hex, Magnus could potentially go for Hex after the BKB himself. Lifestar, if he wanted to go, could go for something like a Hex or an Orchid if he truly wanted to, but I don't think that will be possible. So it's always interesting. It's always an interesting dynamic for me when Spectre's in the game because there are ways you can beat Spectre in the late game, but it's just so hard because Spectre just does so much damage and is just so difficult to bring down. But at this point in the game, Loda doesn't even have a Vanguard. Loda went for the drums instead to give himself a bit more teamfight presence and a bit more damage, as well as a bit more mana. And if I were Loda, maybe I'd finish the Asha, go straight into Heart. Again, Loda has a lot more experience as a vastly superior player than I'll ever be. But I'm really wondering what he will go for next. I think this might be one of the few situations where he might have to go BKB on Spectre. But then again, there is RP in place. There is Leicester who doesn't really care about BKB too much. There is an immense amount of damage from the Nature's Prophet. And every time I look at this Nature's Prophet, his Midas is always off cooldown. Koikwa, you're playing fantastically, but come on, man. This is like what everybody cringes at whenever somebody sees a Midas in a game. All they do is to see if the Midas is off of cooldown. But still, Koikwa playing again out of his mind. 14k gold lead from Mouz, almost 7k experience advantage as well. And again, not many heroes scale on the side of Alliance. They're really gonna have to rely on Spectre. And Magnus picks up the BKB. Alliance gonna do a smoke gank. It is daytime, as they are gonna try to catch out. Perhaps the Nature's Prophet jungling it up. Do they have detection on any of their heroes? They have some sentry wards, and they have a set of dust. But Alliance just trying to get some map control. Gonna place a very, very aggressive observer ward into the opposing jungle, but still, how much will that really accomplish? And they're just gonna be outside your base pushing in. No gem on the side of Mouz just yet. They want to make something happen, but this isn't really a desperation move just yet. Well, it's not really a desperation move, but it's not really expecting to end the game right now, because they know even against Spectre, 1 Rax doesn't mean too much. Although, they do have a Nature's Prophet, and 1 Rax, when you have a Nature's Prophet on your side, is so difficult to come back from. Especially a ridiculously farm Nature's Prophet like Quick was. But yeah, no gem yet on the side of Mouz, they're just gonna sentry ward it up. Not really too concerned about the vision because they have more than enough gold to buy sentries, saying if you got a gem and start dewarding, that could be a bit problematic for the Nature's Prophet to teleport back into things. And now, the siege. The Lord of the Rings siege. Gonna summon trees, the Ents gonna try to attack Isengard and the evil forces of Alliance, even though they have such a team-friendly name like the Alliance. Gonna defend with the Gandalf the White Wizard being on, for some reason, the wrong side of the map and not playing with the trees. Such a weird situation if this were Lord of the Rings. Oh hey Gandalf, you're defending? Well, I guess you could be Saruman, but Saruman doesn't ride. Anyway, S4 gonna get, Loda gonna get picked up in the air. RP only gonna catch EGM. Here comes Hookin, back by Clockwork. Nice skewer, gonna catch out everybody as Nyx does pick up the kill on Black. And meanwhile, Nature's Prophet kills off Nyx, kills off Admiral Bulldog, but Spectre, where is Spectre? Oh man, this team fight just so chaotic. I honestly don't know who to follow. Spectre is owning. That's what Spectre's doing. I just want to watch that again. I'm sorry, that team fight control was too distracted by Lord of the Rings metaphor, so we'll just watch it again. Oh, Loda is gonna die. He's gonna die to Koikwa. Oh, this is a common Loda tactic. This is what Loda does. This is what he does a lot with Spectre, and this is what he's talking about when No-Tail was missing the RP. Loda saves buyback on Spectre. He waits for him to do as much damage as possible with dispersion. Try to take the engagement with his team when, you know, they're in a disadvantageous situation. And they do a lot of damage. And then, when he does, he buys back, and then suddenly everybody's at low HP. They can't possibly bring down Spectre a second time. And this is what Loda commonly does. This is why he said, you know, No-Tail's RP whiff in that Star Ladder final wasn't really the biggest deal, because he had buyback, he would have haunted just right back in anyways. And how many buybacks? I just heard that gong sound so often. Black bought back, Clockwork bought back, Nyx bought back, Nature's Prophet bought back, Spectre bought back. Oof, that is gonna hurt for Mouz quite a bit. They gave up so much and they bought back a lot, and they can't really do too much with this buyback, as Roshan not gonna respond in a moment. As where did the clock go? Clock not here anymore. And Loda, even with that kills being picked up and the assist gold, still had to use a lot of money in that buyback situation, and now lads do have to play on the defense again. Meanwhile, Mouz can afford to play a bit more aggressively because they do still have the map control on their side of the map. And RP has such a short cooldown that you can always take a team fight with it. But still, Mouz have to be feeling a bit concerned because that Spectre is only going to get stronger as this game goes on. Sure, they have methods to fight her, as they're going to initiate onto Loda. Black is going to pop out. It's only 2 people on Mouz. Is Koiko already going to pop his BKB? Ooh, that was interesting play by Mouz. I guess they weren't anticipating everybody on the side of Alliance to be right there backing up the Spectre, but where else would Alliance be? As Koiko using another charge of that BKB, it's down to 8 seconds now. That was a 9-second BKB. It's not going to be up for the next team fight. That's why Bulldog hooked back in. Black going to kill off the Spectre illusion, but now he's surrounded by Cogs. As Spectre, where did he hunt into? He's going to try to hunt down the Magnus. It's going to prevent him from RPing. They're going to isolate Black, going to cast that crippling fear on him as well. Here comes Magnus, gets a huge RP, but where is the damage? Ice Path, Dual Breath, Macro Pyre, not doing anything. Oh my god, Alliance, they're going to make this comeback. Perhaps they're gonna clean up yet another team fight, not losing anybody. Spectre kills off the Magnus Pass, zaps S4, saying, at least we got something. And what a sensation. Well, not really sensational, just smart. Sensational would be like a really spectacular juke play or like an 8-man RP, even though there's only 5 people on the team. Just smart play by Loda. He haunted in, waited for the full duration, and who did he go on? He went on the Magnus, saying, you can't blink. You can't save Black. Black is dead. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do without your physical DPS carry? And Nature's Prophet, no BKB in that duration, got chain stunned down. So Loda with really good recognition, and now Loda can pick up the Reaver. He's going to still get only more and more powerful, and now the momentum all in favor of Alliance, even though they're still going to be behind in terms of gold because they still have to take out 4 more towers. The experience graph reflects Alliance's comeback. The gold graph, it was almost at around 17k, now going to dip below 10k most likely after that tower, as well as the successive team fight victories. Alliance have even pulled ahead in the kill department. And again, Spectre's only getting stronger and stronger. And Mouz had to be feeling a bit shaky. As, yo, Midas, bro. And now, Mouz, they can't really charge it anymore. Every time they've charged into an engagement, they've lost. Keeper like Clockwork still do a lot of AoE damage. They have nothing like a pipe in place just yet. And it might have been actually more prudent for Magnus to go for a pipe rather than the BKB, because Haunt doesn't care about BKB, and Magnus without the dagger really can't position himself. Of course, you do have to worry about silence without the BKB, but still, pipe against Illuminate, as well as Radiance Burn, would have helped prolong the lives. I don't know if it would have gotten them more kills when they were getting completely wiped, but it would have helped prolong everybody's life. Meanwhile, Nyx suddenly has a Ghost Scepter. Checking out the items, Bulldog, not much gold, as he did die in that engagement, I do believe. Got picked off by Black. But still, trying to tank up, may go for a Blade Mail or an Aghanims. Keeper has a Ghost Scepter as well as a Force Staff. And suddenly, Nature's Prophet DPS, Lifestealer DPS is a lot less scary. You can't hex everybody. It's gonna be up to Fada. He's been getting good RPs, but unfortunately, they've been delayed RPs because Spectre's been isolating him. So it's not even Fada's fault, it's just the appropriate response you want to make when you have a Spectre on your side. You disable the initiators. Initiators initiate because they usually have daggers, and they can just provide an enormous setup for your team. That's why RP is such a good spell. But the initiators can't initiate if they're the ones being initiated on, and their daggers are cancelled. And if you can sort of kill out everybody, if you can kill off Black at the very least, there goes a huge portion of your DPS. And that's why Mouz is now playing so very defensively. Loda picks up the VIP booster, going for the safe purchase, so at least he does have buyback, because Roshan is going to spawn. And if no Tide Hunter, aka Alliance, do pick this up, I don't know, that could be all of the remaining outer towers. I don't think Alliance can necessarily push in the base just yet, but it's going to be brutal. Just want to check out the gold graph. Well, still the Rain do have map control because of their tower advantage as EGM. Gonna get the heck out of dodge. And Mouz continuing to want to push in. I guess they really still feel the Spectre. As Black gonna get daggered. Will rage. Loda gonna pursue the issue. Ice Path gonna stun in place. This should not be a fight that Mouz want to take. Loda has buyback. And I think Mouz probably realized he has buyback because he only has a VIP booster. And Mouz making the smart decision, just gonna spread the heck out of there. S4 finished up the BKB, so now you can take up a bit more damage. RP will still do a lot, but now you can't get hexed. Now you can't get open wounds. And Rubik, unfortunately for Rubik in this game, what spell can he steal? The best spell you could actually probably steal is something like the Cogs or the Impale. Probably Impale is probably the best spell you can steal because it's an AoE stun. And Cogs, when you have melee heroes on your team, is not really the most useful. Meanwhile, quick, while picking up the Demon Edge, this is definitely not a Rapier. Nature Swap is too squishy to pick up a Rapier 40 minutes in the game. This is probably going to be an MKB or a Daedalus. Probably a Daedalus, because he has the attack speed to help fuel that with the Shadow Blade. And he is level 21. Crits would hurt quite a bit. And maybe you saw that Loda went for the bit booster, so he feels a bit more confident in picking up the Daedalus rather than MKB. But still, he could go back in the MKB. It doesn't really make a difference. It could be if he went for MKB to predict Loda's Butterfly, so he can go right through that. But keep in mind, Spectre is a BKB hero, and if you Hex, Evasion doesn't do anything. Evasion gets fully disabled by Hex. Mouz maintaining map control. They're not yet out of it just yet. They've lost a huge amount of momentum. They're still an experience disadvantage, but this stage in the game was 2.5 experience disadvantage. Honestly, it doesn't mean jack all. But Spectre, approaching the Heart territory. If he has Heart, won't have buyback just yet. Gonna pick up the recipe. And in a couple more waves, we'll have that Heart and buyback. And then Spectre could be, well, not immortal, but will be immortal with that buyback. Well, I guess everybody's immortal with a buyback if they don't die a second time. Well, Spectre will do a lot of damage, because again, Dispersion reflects pure damage evenly over the entire enemy squad. Remember when Dispersion reflected the damage not spread over evenly over your entire menu team? Remember when it was like 28%? Remember when it reflected spells in general? In the old days? Those are the days of Spectre. Oops, I forgot to unmute my mic, but anyways, I was saying Gem up on Mouz, Gem on the Nyx, but despite that, Alliance are playing super defensively, because the last couple engagements they've been able to get really good initiation. Black was isolated a couple of times. Admiral Bulldog appropriately sectioned off Mouse from reinforcing Black or reinforcing the other person he hooked onto. And if Mouse are playing defensively, if Alliance don't have vision, they can't really hook in to kill off Black, can they? So that's why Alliance are so hesitant to push forward. EGM gonna wander forward. Has to be careful, Jakiro has a gem. I think Jakiro is trying to bait out EGM because Rain do have a ward. As EGM trying to venture a bit closer to the vision, but now he's not in the true sight range. As, EGM in a little bit of dangerous position. Loda in an even more dangerous position. This could be a bait by Loda. He might just want to get himself back to the teamfight. Koika gonna pop the BKB. Loda will just die in a matter of instants. He's gonna buy back. He's gonna get back into the fight. MKB on Nature's Power doing so much damage. S4 trying to go to work on Black. Black stealing life left and right. Koika will get picked off. Where is Spectre? Spectre haunting in. RP by the Magnus. What a play by Thada, the buybacks. Oh, what communication with Mouse. That was just such smart play. That was really smart play. What more can you say? As I thought there was no tower, so how can Nature's Prophet and Black get themselves back in the team fight? Infest teleport. RP by Thada, waiting for the perfect opportunity. And now Loda, he already used his buyback. And now Alliance are just like, shit. I think that's literally probably what they're saying. They're saying, well, fuck guys, what do we do now? And I think we're seeing the problem with Alliance. They don't have any other damage besides Spectre. Because the Night Stalker is not a DPS dealer. He went for some DPS items, he went for the Armlet and Basher to get some lockdown. But honestly, Spectre is the only source of DPS, and if you kill off Spectre, Mouse is really not able to be stopped. And of course, the clumping up after Thada with the game-changing RP, and this is the power of Magnus. This is why Magnus is such a stupid, broken hero. Well, not a stupid, broken hero, just really, really strong hero. This is why Magnus rarely loses these days, it seems like. As S4 trying to go to work, two barracks are already cleaned up. Black gonna get initiated on the Basher. We'll go to work on Black. Black has no buyback, as Thada will successfully kill off EGM with that BKB in place. S4 will get picked back up into the air. This is just gonna buy time for Loda to revive, so they don't get mega rexed. But it is so difficult to come back from 2 sets of Rex for the most part against Nature's Prophet. It's honestly, it's just so hard. When you have nothing like an anti-H, you have no Magnus to give you power to clear out the creep waves. It's not like, well, Spectre went for the Radiant, so it can clear out the creep waves a bit more easily. But it's just so hard to come back against a Nature's Prophet. So Mouse just gonna take it easy, but they're gonna buy back. They want to fight this Aegis. They know this is the only way Alliance can get themselves back in game. If they lose this Roshan fight, they're not nearly out of it just yet. If Alliance loses this Roshan fight, Alliance are done. So I think that is the rationale behind Phaeda's buyback right about now. It's a little bit less risky, because again, that will give Alliance an opening, as Paz gonna get initiated on Void, and the Spectre Haunted gonna do an immense amount of damage. RP are gonna be expanded. Expected Loda to haunt in perhaps, but was worried not the best RP by Thada, as they are gonna push Alliance away. But that might give Alliance a bit more confidence. Unfortunately for them, they did expend a haunt for an RP. Hey, haunt has longer cooldown, because RP cooldown is 100 seconds. And now, Nature's Prophet successfully kills off Loda. Let's see how that happened again. Shadowblade teleport, Black Infest bomb. Who needs a storm when you have a Nature's Prophet? And Loda probably doesn't have buyback. His buyback cooldown still a minute and a half. I think this is the end for Alliance in this game. They're going to try to buy as much time as possible. But in the end, Alliance perhaps going to fall. 2-man cog by Bulldog. Nicely done. S4 trying to go to work, but Koikwa, ooh, he's getting bashed to death. The Bash Lord, NS, going to come back in. Will pick off the Nature's Prophet, and then Nature's Prophet does not have buyback, but Black is still in the picture. And Black saying, forgot about me guys, I'm still one of the best carries in the European scene, if not the best. And the Mega Creeps will be sealed. This is going to be the end of Alliance in the Raidcall EMS. One of the heavy favorites coming in, if not the favorite, next to Navi. But Mouz Sports, headed by Black. Loda playing with a broken wrist, such spirit and resilience, really smart play. Just winning every lane. And when you have a Spectre on your side against a Nature's Prophet, you can't really lose every lane. With Spectre, you can concede a lane, saying, okay guys, we have a Spectre. If you lose every lane against a Nature's Prophet, it's a bit more difficult, because the Nature's Prophet will punish you. And Radiant gonna win the game. GG, well played. Alliance go home with $2,000 because everybody who qualified get at least 2k euros. But Mouz gonna move on, guaranteeing themselves at least 4,000. And they must be ecstatic. They were by far the heavy underdogs going to this matchup. Alliance just looks so dominant, but Mouz, really solid play. It's hard to say where they made mistakes. I mean, they definitely made mistakes, but overall their consistency in their game plan, their laning phase is just so impressive, and they're looking very scary. But thanks for watching as usual. Sorry about a little bit of the technical difficulties for a bit of the moment, but at least it happened during the downtime. But thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.